Welcome to If People Only Knew, the show that brings untold stories to light. I'm your host, Anna Matson. Let's get started. Welcome to the show. Today we have Peter Gillooly, and he is from the Wellness Company. And I'm going to call this episode a special report because it's not exactly the framework of my typical episodes. I'm very much inserting myself into some drama today. And the reason why I am is because it involves our government. And my philosophy is, if I'm going to hold one person accountable in government, I'm going to do it to everybody. I have it like all over every one of my social media pages. I hold all politicians accountable, regardless of party. And so you submitted an ethics complaint against Calley Means. And so I want to talk about what led up to this. So first, how are you doing, Peter?
It's been a crazy couple of weeks, Anna. Thanks for having me.
So let's get into this. So first, if people don't know Calley Means, he's kind of the one. I'm sure a lot of people have seen him, and even if they don't know his name, but he is the one that coordinated the conversation between Trump and Kennedy to get them to join forces. And now he's just kind of like a MAHA leader. He's a former lobbyist. He loves to call lobbyists out to their face. And now he's a special government employee. He was hired, I believe, in the middle of March. Special government employees, I think, can work up to like 120 days. So he can work until July, I believe. But yeah, so that's who he is very briefly. Now, there's some events that led up to the ethics complaint. So I'm just going to go through those quickly. So on May 7th, President Trump announced that he was nominating Dr. Calley Means, which is Calley Means' sister, as Surgeon General. And I posted, I love the advocacy that Dr. Calley Means does, but the Florida Surgeon General is the most qualified for this position. So I kind of took like a moderate approach to this. A lot of people, though, immediately when it was announced, I knew it would just break MAHA because there's a lot of people who absolutely love Casey. And there's a lot of people who think that she kind of came into the movement to take attention away from vaccines and really just talk about food. And then there's people like me where I'm like, both are important, guys. So one of the people that was upset about the pick was Nicole Shanahan. And so Calley posted, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he posted that it's been revealed to him that Nicole is collaborating with influencers to sink Casey's nomination as Surgeon General. And it was a very long tweet. And one of the things that I kind of noticed, it's not really important in terms of the ethics complaint, but it just kind of shows you how heated he was. He said his sister is now happily married and pregnant. So he announced that Casey was pregnant in a rage tweet, which I was like, what's going on here? I highly doubt, I mean, I don't know their relationship, but I highly doubt that's how Casey wanted her pregnancy announced. Okay, so there's back and forth between Nicole with Calley and then Laura Loomer. So Calley jumps in and says, just received information that Laura Loomer is taking money from industry to scuttle President Trump's agenda. And then, I mean, I don't know everything, guys, but I know you don't poke that bear. I'm smart enough to know that. But he poked that bear. And so him and Laura Loomer were going back and forth. Laura Loomer said, I heard there's a massive story about Calley Means and Casey that's about to drop. I hear it's devastating. And the story really was about your ethics complaint that I'm assuming this is the story she was referring to, but the ethics complaint that you filed, it was in Politico. So this is how we came in contact. I actually never heard of you before this article. I honestly didn't even hear about the wellness company before. But I saw this article, and when I do research and report, I don't like to go off of mainstream media. I like to look at the actual facts, like the actual research, whatever. So I just reached out to you on X and I said, "Hey, can you let me know what's going on?" And we had a phone conversation. We got on the phone and you explained it to me from your perspective. And I was like, "Okay, do you want to come on my show so you can just tell everyone what's going on?" And here you are. So that was very briefly the drama, but there was a lot of it and some of it's still going on. But quickly, can you explain Truemed? So Calley, I forgot to say this at the beginning. So Calley is owner or part owner or something like that of Truemed. So Peter, what do you know about Truemed?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So many people in the United States might have health savings accounts or HSAs or flexible spending accounts, right? They're a great way for you to set aside money pre-tax that you can then use tax-free for healthcare expenses, right? It's a really fantastic tool that I would love to see more Americans have, right? I mean, it's a great way to save money. Calley's company allows kind of alternative companies in the health and wellness space to access HSA funds. So not everything automatically qualifies for HSA money. Many transactions, you need to get a doctor's note saying that you have a medical need for whatever you're trying to purchase.
Okay.
So that includes things like supplements, right? Things like a Peloton bike. So all of these things, Truemed helps facilitate the transaction for. So that's Calley's main business. There seems to be a kind of growing industry around helping people access their HSA dollars. And in fact, in Trump's most recent budget bill, there was drastic expansions to HSAs within the United States, which I'm also supportive of. So it looks like HSAs are here to stay and something that's going to be even more prevalent and common over the next few years.
Okay, and then now let's go and talk about your business. So you are owner of the wellness company or CEO?
I
Both?
am. I'm CEO and co-owner. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So the wellness company is a 3-year-old company. We started in the supplement space. We are led by our chief medical board of 6 doctors, which are kind of interesting. They come from both sides of the political spectrum, both Democrats and Republicans. The kind of uniting principle is that they all put health first. They all advocated for many of the tenets that are now core to MAHA prior to MAHA even being a thing. So things like
Mhm.
informed consent, things
Yeah.
like thinking critically and unbiased about the vaccines, repurposed drugs like ivermectin and its efficacy in curing things like COVID and other diseases. So we offer a wide variety of supplements as well as 50-state telemedicine practice to consumers nationwide. So it's been a really successful journey, and we're growing every month.
Awesome. So how did you get involved in all of this drama? What the hell happened?
This one totally blindsided me, Anna. Totally. So, you mentioned Dr. Casey Means' nomination. So, apparently, the the nomination was down to Dr. Casey Means and Dr. Kelly Victory, who happens to be on my chief medical board. Now, Dr. Kelly Victory, she's been practicing medicine for 40 years. She's been both a trauma specialist in the ER as well as medical director for major corporations like United Airlines.
Mm.
Extremely prestigious career. Casey, different background, didn't finish her residency, has never practiced medicine, has transformed herself into a alternative healthcare influencer, talking a lot about nutrition and value foods. And look, don't get me wrong, there's a ton of value in that, and I'm a huge proponent for alternative non-allopathic modes of healing, hands down. But obviously, they also had very different opinions on things like the vaccine. As I said, that seems to be a lightning rod issue among MAHA supporters right now. Casey got the nod, and Casey and MAHA generally has not come out publicly rebuking the COVID vaccine. So there was a lot of heat that week. Fortunately from my perspective, like I was just honestly happy that I got to keep Kelly, because if she had joined the Trump administration, she would have necessarily had to have dropped all of her work that she does for me at the wellness company. So I never met Casey or Calley. Wish them the best of luck, but we kind of got dragged into this, as you pointed out through those posts. There was a lot of controversy about the pick. There still is. And Laura Loomer really was going hard on Calley, and I think Calley made the fatal mistake of trying to
Poking.
dispute what Laura was saying. And look, I think there was some assumptions that were made that Calley had, that the motivation behind all of these attacks must be from the person who lost, and that person would be Dr. Calley Victory and the wellness company. 100% untrue and false. Like I said, I really didn't care. Right? I moved on and whatever. That led to Calley ending up contacting me directly. And again, I've never spoke to Calley Means in my life.
You've
Never
never
met him.
spoken to him? Have you spoken
Never
to his
spoke to him.
sister?
Never met him nor his sister in his life prior to Saturday morning, 10 a.m., when he gave me a phone call.
Okay. And how did he get your number?
He had called Dr. Drew. So Dr. Drew Pinsky is also a member of my chief medical board. He had called Dr. Drew hysterical, as it was described. And Dr. Drew said, I don't know what any of this is about. Here's Peter's number. Give him a call and see if he can resolve it. So I said, thanks. Just have Calley give me a ring. So that's how Calley got in touch with me.
Okay. So did you answer the phone? Like, what happened after that?
Well, Calley immediately called me a couple times and started texting me. And I said, look, Calley, let me get back to my desk. I was actually walking my dog at the time. Let me get back to my desk. And, my antennas were up, because obviously I've done my research on Calley Means. He did kind of come out of nowhere, as you pointed out, right? I mean, he was a, former opioid lobbyist that had kind of a personal transformation with his sister to become this kind of alternative health influencers. Popped onto the scene with RFK and Trump last summer after Butler, and the rest is sort of in history. He's been kind of in frame ever since. So I was a little concerned, because obviously Calley is a very well-connected person. He does have that job as special advisor to Secretary Kennedy.
Well, and would you consider his company a competitor of yours?
No, there's no direct competition with Truemed. The wellness company would be a potential client of Truemed. Like, we could use Truemed service to let customers use HSA funds.
Okay, gotcha.
The call started out completely off the rails, and I've shared with you kind of my perspective on it. I did not expect Calley to launch straight into a tirade, but that's what happened. And as detailed in the complaint, Calley immediately threatened to sue me for coordinating some sort of smear campaign against he and his sister. He threatened to bring in Secretary Kennedy and Jay Bhattacharya, that I was, in his words, fucking up their agenda. Again, like, anytime that someone threatens me to bring the top government officials that would conceivably regulate my space down on my private business, that's a huge concern. And that's ultimately what prompted the complaint at the end, was that not that there was a business to business conflict, but that he was threatening to bring government officials into a dispute, from what I could say, an unjustified personal dispute that, frankly, was just false to begin with, and built completely on conjecture. He also made a weird kind of blackmailish extortionist overture that it might be a good idea if the wellness company used Truemed services, like that might somehow resolve his issues that he has with me. And he referenced multiple times how there's political dynamics that I don't understand, and still to this day, and I don't understand what the political dynamics are, because maybe I'm just a Luddite business person. But he referenced that on several occasions, and went into some deep rabbit holes about Dr. Calley Victory being delusional, and kind of finished the call with a second threat to bring in Secretary Kennedy and Jay Bhattacharya to do something to me. I'm not sure what, to this day.
And we do have an audio clip of part of your conversation. I'll play that in a second, but I have questions, so many questions. So how long did the conversation go?
It lasted about 14, 15 minutes.
Okay. And have you talked to Dr. Calley about this? Like, has she talked to Calley at all? Like, do you have any inclination how Calley could get the impression that you're paying Laura Loomer to go after them?
I can only think it was Laura Loomer's own advocacy for Dr. Victory. And to be clear, Dr. Victory has never talked to Calley. And moreover, I've never even spoken to Laura Loomer. Not once. So, like, I tried to explain it in the call, but Calley was having none. But I think, obviously he felt very threatened by something that was happening. I think he drew a connection between his sister's nomination and the pushback, but ultimately I got the sense that it was something to do with his business because he, in his own words, said, this is not only a business issue, there's a political angle that you need to understand. And again, politics is politics, but I don't take kindly to politicians or people that are well connected in Washington making threats to weaponize the government against a private business, which is really what this is all about. It's weaponizing the government against a private business because of a personal dispute.
So
And that's really what I can't stand for.
Yeah, so let's play that clip. It is a little bit quiet, but and people, if you're listening, if you didn't hear it, you can go back and hear it again.
When the post isn't taken down, and if any other things happen that I know you're facilitating, I'm going to sue the shit out of you. Number two, if one more things happens, I'm going to go to Jay Bhattacharya, Bobby, and tell him that you and your cadre of Peter McCullough and Calley Victory are spreading lies and trying to fuck with him and hurt his administration. You overstepped here. You totally fucked up. I don't know what your motivations are, but this either stops or I'm going to sue the shit out of you, okay?
Very pleasant.
Happy Saturday morning.
And so obviously that's just a very short clip that you sent me of the 14-ish minute conversation. So I'm assuming you recorded the conversation.
I did, and I did it out of an abundance of caution. When Drew says that, this person is hysterical and as well connected as I know Calley to be, it just didn't sit right with me, and I wanted to protect myself. And boy, am I glad I did.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, though, if you listened again to that clip, he says, I don't know your motivations. It's interesting, right, to say that and admit that on the call, because I still don't know what motivations I would have anyway, because there are none. So
yeah,
I think I think this just hints at something deeper that's going on.
Yeah, man, I don't even know exactly where to attack this because it's just, I don't know. I mean, the Surgeon General position is not that serious for all of this drama, but okay, but let's just so the call happens. At what point were you like, okay, I got to do something about this? Like, did you just know that you needed to file some kind of complaint? Were you advised? Like, what made you want to file an ethics complaint against him?
Yeah. So after the call, I told Calley, look, message received. Let me go back and talk to my team. Calley then proceeded to call me 5 more times, Saturday afternoon, Sunday, and Monday. Like, dude was relentless, texted me multiple times too. I mean, this guy was desperate to talk.
Did you ever respond again after the phone call?
I sent him one more text message after I said, Calley, I'm working on it. This is starting to feel like harassment. I need you to stop. And he said in text, you're the one who's harassing me. So whatever. But I went to my team and talked to both Dr. Peter McCalley and Dr. Calley Victory and my co-founder, Foster Colson, about it. And look, we kind of debated what to do. So obviously, we had the recording. We kind of debated, hey, do we just do nothing and sit on it and hope that he doesn't follow through? And if he does, then use that to say, look, this is all part of a bigger agenda here that's happening in the background, or do we get proactive and kind of head this one off of the past? And ultimately we said, look, we don't want to be looking over our shoulders the rest of our life. We need to take a stand. We feel like we have a ethical obligation to highlight this sort of behavior. I mean, this is the types of conversations that have no place in government. And we truly believe that Democrat or Republican does not matter.
Well, and that's the
why
thing. If he was just on the outside and he called you and said that, that's one thing. But the fact that he's in government, it looks like he's using his position to hurt a private business. And I think that's really really the butt of your complaint, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. It's leveraging his position and threats of blackmail. I don't even know how you would describe the threat, but leveraging the highest stations in the Trump cabinet to potentially put me out of business. I don't know. I have no idea what the retribution could be, and that's very concerning.
And like I said, the minute that Calley Means was announced to be nominated as Surgeon General, which FYI, she hasn't actually been officially nominated yet. That is a formal process that the Trump administration has to send her nomination to the Senate, and that has not happened yet. So I'm almost wondering if the Trump administration is waiting for the dust to settle on all of this stuff to see if they're actually going to nominate her. I don't know. Or they just haven't gotten to it. But like I was saying, the minute it was announced, I was like, this is going to break MAHA. You didn't have to pay people to be upset. Like, people are going to be upset no matter what about everything. But especially, like I said, in MAHA, there's like two cohorts that it's like, which one's more important, food or vaccines? And so there's a lot of people who are concerned about Calley, that she's only talking about food. And there's also people who are apprehensive because of I don't know if she's still, someone said that she sold her part of the company or whatever, but she had a company or has a company called Levels, where it's a continuous glucose monitor. So some people are worried about their data, that she's going to go in and she's going to have access to all of our private medical data. You know, there's people who are apprehensive.
Can I pause you there? There's an important fact that I think you all should know. So yes, you're right. She does own a glucose monitoring company called Levels, which is backed by Mark Zuckerberg's sister, among other people. But most importantly, the co-founder of Levels, his name is Sam Korkos, is part of Doge and currently is dealing with all of the IRS IT issues that Elon's been working over there. So there's just, to me, it seems like a rat's nest of conflicts of interest, right? I mean, you have people that are sitting on data sets that are potentially worth trillions and trillions of dollars to the right company.
Yeah.
And they're also owning companies that can monetize those data sets. So what does that tell you, right? And that's really what concerns me.
Yeah, and this goes far, beyond the means. Like, I have gotten so many messages from people when Doge was created. I had so many people freaking out, like, Anna, like, this is awful. We can't do this. Like, Elon and his team cannot have access to our data. And my whole thing is like, okay, risk and reward. Like, I went to school for marketing. Like, data is paper gold, I guess, or digital gold. Everyone wants our data. I'm sure like, data in business.
Data is the new oil.
It's very important because data allows companies to market at just the right time, at just the right place. Like, before you even know that you want to buy something, the company wants enough data to know that, so they can put that very specific ad in front of you, all the things. Okay. So data is very important. So like I said, like, you didn't have to pay someone, even if you did, even if you didn't. I'm not accusing you of anything, but for Calley to say that, like, you're paying people to go after Calley's nomination, there are people who are upset about it, who are not paid off. This is going to happen regardless. Every single pick, no matter what. No one is ever going to just love the president's pick, no matter what. So that's kind of what's interesting about this. That he just accused you of that. And I will say, like, if Calley ever wants to come on the show, defend his or just not defend, but like tell his side of the story, he's more than welcome to. The point of this is, I just wanted people, since this does involve government, I wanted people to have the information in front of them so they can make an informed opinion. about all of this. But I do have some quotes. Calley gave a quote to Politico when the article was ran, and he said, "I received information that the wellness company was actively spreading provably false information about Truemed. I called the CEO of the wellness company and threatened legal action if he continued to spread this provably false information. I noted I would prefer they stop spreading provably untrue information before I was forced to take legal action." And I have one more. I believe I have one more. I have to find it. He said this to Laura Loomer in response to the article. "No, Laura, filing a fake complaint and leaking it to Politico is not devastating. I received info that the wellness company engaged in an effort to compile and share provably untrue information. I called the CEO to inform him and request he stop before legal action. They filed a ridiculous complaint and leaked it to Politico to feed the news cycle." Who did you send the ethics complaint to?
The ethics complaint was submitted to HHS Ethics Committee, OIG, the Office of the Office of Special Counsel, and the FTC.
Wow, a lot. We'll see. Have you gotten any response from them?
I got a reply back that they will investigate. But,
Okay.
just kind of the obligatory thank you.
Yeah. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, did I see that he sent you a cease and desist?
They ended up sending me a cease and desist on Monday. Honestly, we looked at it and we had no idea what we were supposed to be ceasing or desisting. It was like the thinnest letter ever. It had no specifics. It just said,
Okay.
it just basically said that we at Truemed practice medicine compliantly. And again, what Laura Loomer and Mary Talley Bowden do on a podcast together, that's their business. I've never spoke to either of them. I don't work with either of them. If they want to do their own investigation, and Laura Loomer said so herself when Politico reached out to her, I think she says, "I researched my own shit," or something is the word she uses. If she's doing her own work, then that's fine. Take it up with Laura.
Mhm.
But he said he would sue me if I didn't have Laura pull it down. I don't even know Laura. I had not spoken to her before or after this happened. And of course, they haven't done anything since they sent me that letter.
Yeah. And I mean, let's just say all of this didn't happen, that he called you. There's still concerns. I mean, like we talked about a little bit, of Casey being Surgeon General, even Calley being a current government employee and currently part owner, whatever, of Truemed. It just looks like there's a conflict. And you said that you saw something in the big, beautiful bill. Do you want to talk about that more?
Yeah, and yesterday when I was watching, the Trump press conference in HHS, which Calley was in the room for, they were talking about the big beautiful bill. It has remarkable expansions to HSAs and FSAs. Medicare Part A participants can now access HSAs. It doubled the amount of money people can put into HSAs. I think Obamacare bronze participants can access HSAs. HSAs can be spent on a wider variety of things like gym memberships or direct primary care memberships. The list goes on and on. That's all I can remember off the top of my head. But obviously, there has been some significant lobbying in favor of expanding HSAs and FSAs.
Yeah. And I'm actually not against, I'm against lobbying, but I'm not against the expansion of HSA, but
Me neither.
it's just the look of it. Like, you have someone,
Correct.
his whole business is, people using their HSA account to buy things on his website. And now you have drastic changes to HSA, which I will say I have not read that part. I am reading the big beautiful bill, but I haven't got to that part yet. So I would have to verify. But yeah, so that's right there is a concern. And I'm not against Calley either. I don't want people to think that, but it's just the whole look of things, especially when RFK Jr. over and over again is like, we want to get rid of the conflicts of interest. Well, it just looks like there's a conflict of interest right underneath him. So that's where it's a concern. I personally would just like to see Calley out of the administration and just doing advocacy work outside of the administration, which is basically what I do. It's what a lot of people do. Jillian Michaels is one that she's not part of the administration, but she does a great job advocating for health. And I think it would just be best, honestly, for RFK Jr. And for the public, just for public image. I'm very big on keeping government accountable, keeping it open and transparent. So that's why I say these things. Now, I do want to ask you though, does it seem like we kind of have like a battle of like Truemed versus the wellness company for this Surgeon General pick? Like, what do you think about that? Because like Casey's like the Truemed side, and then the wellness company, you have Dr. Calley Victory. Is it kind of like you guys are fighting for that spot right now? What are your thoughts?
It's funny because in Calley's reporting, when he called Dr. Victory delusional and said that this is all showbiz, I thought that was a little bit of trivializing the station. But the Surgeon General position today, Anna, it's a figurehead position. It kind of serves as a spokesperson for the nation's medical community, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I wanted Dr. Victory to get it. I thought she's highly qualified. She's an excellent communicator. She has experience both on the corporate and the kind of hospital side of medicine. And I think that's the type of person that you want, which can distill their decades of experience into digestible updates and initiatives that the American people can take. And after everything we've been through with the pandemic, wouldn't it be refreshing to have somebody who can just give it to us straight?
Mm-hmm.
Again, I am relieved that she did not get it out of just greed, because she does such an excellent job and is so helpful to me at the wellness company that I would hate to have her walk away. But that's what it would take legally for her to take that spot. She would need to give up her position at the wellness company and be completely out. No work whatsoever, no phone calls, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I can see obviously why it sparked a great deal of controversy. Dr. Victory does have a considerable following. She is known for being incredibly outspoken on issues, especially the vaccine, which Dr. Means is notably does not touch. And in fact, I think she celebrated her vaccination on a live X space. Whatever. So that's my personal stance on the issue. Either way, I think that the United States deserves a Surgeon General who's going to represent the people and, not feed us lies, right? I mean, we've been through enough when it comes to public health.
Yeah, that's why, it was like within the hour or something when it was announced, I posted that I wanted a doctor, like the Florida Surgeon General, Dr. Latipo, because he had
Latipo would
this
be a phenomenal pick.
phenomenal because he has a track record of getting his people through a pandemic. But I will say I did a ton of research into the Surgeon General, and the position has changed so much over time. Like you said, it's just a figurehead now, really. But it wasn't always like that. Like they call it Surgeon General for a reason because it's actually a military position. So the Surgeon General is in a military uniform, and they're a general. It's very odd. It's like this department in HHS that's that's a military branch, and there's like 6,000 doctors, medical professionals. And what's interesting is the Surgeon General like oversees them, but they don't really, because all of these people, I forgot what it's called. It's a very long name, like in the comms or whatever. They actually all work in other branches of the government. So their pay and their oversight come from those other departments. So that's why it's like the Surgeon General used to be like really in charge of them, but not so much today. So now the Surgeon General really just puts out warnings. The most famous one was the one on tobacco. Don't smoke, you're going to get lung cancer. That was the biggest one in history. But now that role has been taken over by the CDC, FDA, NIH. So those organizations now give us warnings. So we really don't need a Surgeon General. like you said, it's just a figurehead now. I doubt Congress is going to take that position away without a fight. So if we had to have one, my vote would be for the Florida Surgeon General, but I don't know what Trump has against Florida. I don't get that fight. But
I think, Anna, I think there is a hesitancy among the Trump administration to address the vaccine issue.
yeah.
Donald Trump made the best decision at the time, I think, with the information he was provided. And I don't think that he is willing to admit that he was, called it wrong. So
yeah, you're not going to see that out of this administration. I think the only two people who have admitted a mistake was RFK Jr. and Elon, where they said we made cuts that was an accident. And that's what you're going to get when you make cuts really fast, and we're going to fix them. But other than that, you do not see accountability in the Trump administration. And it's just not the Trump way. The Trump team has said that. It's not the Trump way to admit fault. So, yeah, I definitely agree. I don't know if they're going to ever take the COVID vaccine off the market. There was a hearing recently with Dr. McCullough. He did such a great job in that hearing, really going through all of the risk of the COVID vaccine. It's way worse than I had even imagined. I mean, I knew it was bad, but I didn't realize it was that bad. And so they really need to take it off the market. But within that, people are going to be like, wait, Trump, didn't you rush this to market? So I feel like to take it off the market, they're going to have to admit at least some fault. But anyway, Peter, I appreciate you coming on and telling us everything. And I hope people take what you have to say. Again, Calley's welcome to come on and say from his side, and people can make their own opinions. And yeah, anything else you want to leave us with, Peter?
No, I appreciate you letting me tell the story, and who knows, there may be more chapters to come. But I do believe this is an important enough issue that Americans need to be aware of it. Mm-hmm. We just can't have the government weaponized against us again, and I hope that we get a resolution.
Awesome. Well, Peter, where can people find you? Obviously, we talked about the wellness company.
You can see the wellness company at twc.health. That's our website. You can find us on Twitter. You can find me on X with my dozen of followers that I have now. So, but please give the wellness company a look. We're trying to help as many people as we can.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and everyone, I will talk to you next week. Thanks.